Hello everyone, this is Charlotte, and this is a podcast called Painting and Chatting, or Chatting and Painting, I still haven't decided. This is where I talk about weird topics that I've thought about today. It's basically shower thoughts and talk therapy, so if you don't want to hear any of that, you don't have to. Excuse the strange look today, I've decided to go a bit festive. I watched Mean Girls last night. I love that movie. So I'm wearing my pink tartan, of course. Go on. Yes, I have a visitor. So, yes, this podcast is about talking about random topics. There is a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do talk about sensitive topics. So if you don't want to hear anything about horrible experiences someone might have had, then absolutely change the channel, listen to something else. If you don't want to hear someone swearing a lot, you could change the channel as well, because I do tend to swear as well. And I'm okay with that. I don't mind swearing. I wasn't allowed to swear when I was a kid because you got your mouth washed out with soap, or other things. So I'm going to swear now. The topic for today is... Where's it gone? Oh, he's just in my feet. Oh, okay. He's hiding today, if you're wondering. He had his little doggy vet appointment. Oh, hello. Little doggy vet appointment on Friday, so he's had his jabs and he had to get some ear liquid stuff done because he's not good in the ears. So he's a little bit sleepy today, I think. He'll get down to them. Anyway, topic for today is manners. I cannot say how important manners are. I don't know whether it's just like because I was raised British or because of ISD or it's just general, like things we're told when we're younger. It's like you should be using your manners. For some reason, there's this mass exodus of manners at the moment. And I'm talking about politeness and being kind to each other. I've found that people have become very, very selfish, and so it doesn't matter. They don't think it matters. Sorry, I'm going to have to put some music on. My brains. I don't like the quiet. The quiet bugs me. It's not good. Hopefully that's not too loud. Not too loud? A little bit of Billy? Okay. Alright, so what are manners? Because I'm going to paint while I do this because I am behind. Manners are a series of customs and behaviours and traits and the ways of speaking that are, reflective of the cultural norms and values we find around ourselves. We adopt them generally from infancy because someone's conditioned and socialised us to react that way. And we're told this is the way we should be going, and this is what we should be doing. And in order to belong to this society or wherever you find yourself, you have to act this way. It's part of cultural custom. In that way, there's also steeping of gender roles and all kinds of business that makes it a bit more complicated than the way I'm saying it, and probably in a better way. Someone could probably say it in a better way, but my brain's glitching. I'm on my ninth cup of coffee, so I think they're double shots, so I'm just going with it. Ooh, is that dry? Oh no, cool. All right. Manners were drilled into me. Not just drilled, they were beaten into me. So it's a case of already having the underlying condition of ASD, where rules are everything, and whatever you're told is like gospel, mixed with the physicality of parenting, which instilled the values. So when I talk about people using manners and how important it is, I fucking mean it. I cannot stand people that do not use their damn manners, and it drives me fucking nuts because there's a very much feeling of slacking when it comes to manners lately. Even in the classroom, my kids, they just don't have it. It's so informal now. We've got to make everything so fun and easy for them that they've just given up on respecting each other and the teacher and themselves, basically. So when they interact with each other, it seems to be like a series of a lot of nastiness, I find, and they drag each other down and they think it's hilarious, and I'm going, what is this coming from? Where is this smart assery coming from that's so nasty? And I don't know if their parents are okay with it, but half the shit I hear coming out of these kids, my mum would have fucked us up for. It's like, so I'm like, where are you getting away with this? But the general nastiness of it. I've got a few girls that are like 8 and they just do not give a fuck. They're being absolute bitches to each other. I'm like, and they don't even register that they're doing it either. it's the nasty comments and shit, and you go, she was, like one of them is a little girl, I won't say her name because otherwise she's generally a good kid. But she says things and it's so off the cuff and she just has no drawback with it. She just doesn't realize maybe how nasty it is. But she'll say it's one of her so-called friends. And you sit there and you think, holy shit, man. Jesus Christ, that's nasty. Why would you say that? But she's like 8 and she laughs about it. And meanwhile, you can see the other kid, which is meant to be one of her friends, is really hurt by it. And so you take that child aside and you say, look, she's obviously having a weird one. I mean, I don't take it personally. For some reason, she seems to think this kind of behavior is funny. I would not take on these traits myself. And to be honest, I kind of redirect them to someone else because I'm like, don't hang around people that are mean, dude. Kind of Mean Girls. I was watching Mean Girls. Sorry, I just saw the link there. I'm like, oh, science thing is it? But that's the thing. It's like, why has this become acceptable? Everyone's trying to put on maybe like a facade of toughness or something like that, and so they're just being generally nasty, but they're trying to do it in a humorous way. And I'm not particularly soft myself. I came from a fucked up background, so I know the value of dark humor and making light of things that would generally probably make you want to top yourself. Don't even go there. Have you listened to my other podcast? There's a few ones. There's one about death, which pretty much enlightening when it comes to my dark sense of humor. But it's not even because they're coping with something that's sort of, dark and they've gone through some horrible experiences. It's because they've just been conditioned to believe that you can be an asshole to someone and it's funny. And I'm sitting there thinking, you're going to run out of friends. You keep being a nasty asshole. I mean, they don't understand it at 8 because they've been told how wonderful they are all the time. And even if they are a nasty asshole, it's like, oh, don't, you're encouraging the kids that are being nasty to just sort of brush it under the rug. But at some point, someone's not going to brush it under the rug and they're going to get their ass kicked. Generally in high school, I should think. But I mean, my brother's a high school teacher as well, and he's had some interesting experiences where he's kind of turned the other cheek and looked the other way when some of the kids who are real pricks decided to get, their ass kicked by usually some nice big Samoan kid. So you're like, because unfortunately it's one of those things, if you're going to be nasty, you have to learn about cause and effect. Sorry, my star's kicking in already. At some point you're going to get, you're going to say the wrong thing to the wrong person, going to kick your ass. That is just life. Not everyone has an absolute control of their emotions all the time. So just don't be nasty. And that's why we use manners, because it helps promote cohesion in social groups. You don't want to be a nasty prick to everyone. People segregate because of it. They don't want to hang around other people. It creates a sense of, Durkheim's othering. If you're going to be a dick, no one's going to want to be around you. You become the enemy of the group. That leads to sort of, social exile and exclusivity. And if you want a cohesive social community, you want to promote inclusivity, really. And in that way, you have to take on particular social norms and values and traits perceived to be manners and politeness and actually use them. People are... Ooh, hello. Awesome sugar. Oh, sorry. Singing. Too much coffee. And also I found like with the normal, like the current norms and things where it's self-promotion was always constantly coming first, people tend to get a bit selfish and they only want to identify as themselves. I say identify as themselves. Value themselves. If you think about it with like the Instagram, Facebook generation, which is a bit hypocritical considering I'm using YouTube right now. Double standards. There is a sense of you are your own brand, you have to promote yourself. I don't consider myself a brand, I consider myself a person who's bored and I'm using this as my shower thoughts therapy. I dress up because it's fun. I'd be wearing an asparagus costume if you'd let me. I don't have one. But it's a big ego trip. People aren't... They see it's like the Instagram generation. People take 1 billion pictures of their ass while they're doing squats. And apparently that's their value. It's that pumping up of egos. Like I have nothing else in my life I deem an achievement except this giant ass that I've done 1 billion squats about. So I'm going to take pictures of it and tell everyone this is my arse. I mean, if you're leading, you're leading a conversation with that, it's, I don't know where you're going to go with that, really. It's a weird topic to choose. Probably not the best one to talk about. But it's very vain, you know? It's like we shouldn't be vain. I mean, you can be proud of your achievements. You can be helping others through your information. Like if you've got a giant butt and you had an eating disorder. Like I've seen some good stories about girls that had eating disorders that were anorexic and bulimic and shit like that. And they whittled away to nothing. And so they used the gym to build up and overcome their eating disorder. I've seen stories like that. I don't mind stories like that. But people who are just vain pricks looking for updates because, you know, this is the only sense of validation they have in their existence. Otherwise, they work a fucking 9-to-5 job like the rest of us, or maybe got sunk into some kind of a child-filled marriage or something, got nothing else to do. And so they take pictures of their ass because I'm a mom and I can do this, or, you know, some guy that misses hanging out with his drinking buddy, some shit. I don't know. I don't know what people get up to. I'm slightly an anomaly in this equation. But if your life is generally mundane and you need to self-promote to feel any kind of value, then you're probably doing it wrong, right? It just comes across as vain and up your own arse, in Australian terms. And on top of that, you're promoting jealousy, which I just don't agree with. I don't like making other people feel bad to make yourself feel good. That's what I don't understand. I mean, consider it ASD or something like that. I don't know. It's heartless. Ooh! Quick stopover. I don't know if anyone actually watched that Science and Synchronicities podcast I did. Do you want to see the end product? It's absolutely shit. Look at it. Fabulous. And I was in the brownies and go guides. Yeah. That's what we learned. That's our survival skills. What did you do today? I glued on pasta to a jar and then we spray painted it. Of course I'm going to survive in the wilderness. Go guides, do it. What did you get? I got a badge. This means nothing in the real world. I need to know how to light a fire. I want to join the Scouts, but at the time we couldn't join the Scouts because we were girls, which I found incredibly sexist in the early 90s. Different tangent. We'll go on that some other time. Oops, that one's wet. So what was I going on about? Sorry, I've gone off on tangent there. My old age is showing. Manners, self-promotion, badness. All right, so why do we bother learning manners? Because we want to belong to a group. If you want to belong to a group, I tried for the longest time to try and fit in with people. Simply because of the masking and shit, and just trying to get along, and we're told that if we're nice to someone that it'll be okay and they'll be nice back, and it's slightly misinformation considering that a lot of girls who are my age were just bitches. And I found, like, even when you go back to try and relate to younger girls than me, so I'm 39. Yes, I know I look my age. I refuse. I don't feel 39 though, that's the thing. Like you get to a certain age and when you're a kid and in your 20s you look at other people and you think, oh my god, yeah, you really are 39. And then you get to it yourself and you go, I don't feel 39. I'm 40. Oh, I should be having my second birthday on tomorrow actually. No, today, 15th of September. That's my second birthday. I have two. But there's a culture these days with the younger girls, I've noticed. I mean, there was a fairly bitchy culture amongst the girls when I was in my 20s because we had the popular group and all that shit and I wasn't in there. I was with the weird kids. I fucking love the weird kids. They're just easier to relate to if they're not trying to conform to some kind of praise me, worship me culture. You can respect them for oddities and it's way more interested in dealing with the shitheads who just want to drink, smoke and fuck around. I was not popular. I was good at school, which I find interesting. Because it paid off. And all the popular girls are either fat and pregnant or druggies. Fat and pregnant, divorced, 8 kids. How many fathers, we don't know. So it's weird that they gave me shit in high school and then fucked up the rest of their life. I don't know. But they took on this sort of mantle of nastiness because apparently bitchiness is cool. And I'm like, first of all, how are you going to stay friends with anyone you're constantly being nasty to them? Because that's just abuse. I never understood that culture of the nastiness. Bearing in mind, I have got slightly infantile brain considering it's ASD, and I was told if you're nice, you be nice, and people are nice to you. But it's the mean girl, the nastiness attitude that I just don't understand. Because they all hang around each other, but then they all sort of slag each other off, and it's like, why would you stay to be abused by people pretending to be your own friends? I don't know. So there is that culture of that, but I find that with the current generation of 20-year-olds, for example, I mean, you get past a certain age and you just stop giving a fuck. I think it's at 30 at this point. By 30, you're just in yourself and you just don't fucking care because you're tired and you're just trying to make rent, right? By the time you get to 30, everything that is the showing off, I've got to look a certain way, I've got to be a certain weight, I've got to have this many piercings, I've got to sleep with this many guys to make people think that I'm desirable and all that extra bullshit that goes along with the 20s. Strange that I didn't actually go into that, I just got married in my 20s. I was happy with one guy at the time because I thought he loved me. That's a different story. But, you know, it's fake, and you realize by the time you're 30 that it means nothing, and to be honest, sleeping around that much, male or female, it tends to work against you because now you're like community dick or something. So you start to think back, maybe I did the right thing by having manners instead of not having manners. There's more pressure on women at the time because it was things like slut shaming, which is weird because at the time we had like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera who was dressing like a slut. And we tried to emulate them, thinking boys will like us. But at the same time, you know, it didn't work because then we were made to believe we needed to look that way, but we weren't allowed to do anything about it. You know, it's like you're allowed to look that way, and guys are allowed to chase you, but if you act on it, you're a slut. It's like, what the fuck? Then why can't we just cover up and not have to worry about this shit? And I've noticed that Gen Z at the moment, their clothes and styles are a lot less sexual and more tracksuit pants and things. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, it's more comfortable, I expect, but you can still look like a fucking toddler. It's like, is that the infantilizing of the generation coming up? But at the same time, they got like mustaches and mullets, and I'm sitting there going, first of all, we were called those. They were fucking horrible when I was your age, because all the pedos had mustaches. And the fuckwit footballers had mullets. And the mullets, at the time, and this is very not PC, is like the reason why we considered them to have mullets at the time is because they were, you know, how do we put this? Differently abled. And this is coming from an ASD person. The reason why they had the shaved sides was because they wouldn't sit still in the chair long enough to give them a good haircut, and that's how you got the mullet. Or the other thing was, it was a prison bitch thing, because from behind it looks like a girl. So you used to grab them by the mullet and, you know, well, rape them. That was the ongoing joke. I mean, it's not very PC at all, really. But we used to see people with mullets. Now, I came from a very bogan culture where I grew up. It was a very low SES. And a lot of people were in prison. A lot of their parents were in prison. Just because they did dumb shit, like breaking and entering and stuff like that. Hooning. But if you saw someone with a mullet, they're either, you know, deemed differently able, or, you know, they'd been to prison a few times and they knew the rules, right? Because that's the thing, is like a long hair at the back, you can really get a grip. And so when I see guys with mullets, I'm like, ew. But that's like my preconditioned response. That's why I don't go for, you know, guys with mullets and moustaches. I'm sitting there going, first of all, you're a kiddie fiddler because you got a moustache and you went to prison, and now we know why you went to prison, you know, and now you got a mullet, and it's like, so I see the moustache and mullet combo, I'm like, prison-based kiddie fiddler. There are so many signals. But again, you've got to take into context, like, I grew up in the 90s where the mullets were the original, 80s, 90s. And these Gen Z are coming back and saying, well, it's fashionable at the time because what the older generations did it, so we're bringing it back. It's like, you want to bring back kiddly fiddle moustaches and rapist mullets? It's like, why? It's like the glasses they used to wear as well. Like, I'm going, what the fuck, dude? Can you at least research the history of why we had these things at the time and what they meant in the cultural context at the time? Before you start trying to make it fashionable again. It's like, what are you doing? Endorsing pedophilia? It's, I don't know. It's weird. So you've got to take into context manners and how, you know, how they're formed in the social constructs around them. So, you know, these Gen Zs, they don't know what they're doing. But, you know, the boomers could say the same about us millennials. So I hesitate. I also hate Birkenstocks, which is terrible considering I used to live in a place which was particularly alternative. I just consider them the ugliest fucking shoes I've ever seen. It's like, I don't know what the point of them is. It's even when guys wear them, I'm going, still, I would not wear them. Anyway, I'm fitting my Mean Girls persona today, aren't I? Oh my god. Stop doing that. So using manners, it's like, why do we need them? We need manners. We do need manners. We need manners because it stops people feeling getting hurt. We need to make sure that we all work together and look after each other. It is one of the 4 components of the purposes of life, is to look after other people. So we use our manners and we make sure nobody's feelings get hurt. No one loses face over stupid stuff, which could be avoided. And it promotes cohesion amongst the people, you know? I can't believe I talked about rapist mullets. Anyway, where did that come from? I just don't like them. There is hidden meaning there. It's like when you see people with like a spider tattoo on their hand and stuff. There's a hidden meaning there. No, it's just fashionable because we're hipster. I'm going, spider tattoos, man. Or the teardrops, you know. I'm like, do you even know what that means? Or are you just going with it because it's fucking hipster? See a bunch of 20-year-olds in Doc Martens. They have no idea what the history is behind it. I'm sitting there going, look, mate. My people come from East End. My mum was a skinhead. I know what those fucking docs are for. You just think it's trendy and cool. I was like, it gives you the shit. It's like, can you at least research the history before you start adopting it and trying to... People. But, you know, we're going to make it our own. It's like, no, you're not. You're just feeding off someone else's originality, man. Grow up. It's our own. I should stop being a bitch. I'm a bitch sometimes. That's okay. I just get frustrated. Why do you get frustrated? People don't do their homework or their research and then they expect it to just fly. I'm going, you do not do your research. Stupid. Anyway, using our manners. How can we use our manners more? Because, you know, bearing in mind, I have like 11 friends on my Facebook. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't go for the big social collecting people because I need to feel compelled to belong to a group or something like that. I like being on my own. I like operating on my own. Half my friends I haven't seen in years, just because I haven't got the energy. So, you know, any guys on my profiles. I'm thinking about these girls that collect like 100 odd guys on their Facebook profile and say, oh my god, yes, I know them all. It's like, I have maybe 3, one of which is gay. The other one I've known since like primary school, since year 2. Right. Who are these people that need external validation? Huh? I'm feeling like they belong. I don't know. I have been taught manners. I've been taught manners to stop my ass getting kicked, but you know, sometimes it works. What's the importance of them? Because you want to be nice to people. I would say we need to bring back etiquette classes, and I'm not talking about stupid shit like learning which fork to use. Oh, sorry, my shit's falling all over the place. I'm talking about sorry, I've never smoked. Sorry, I swear my twin smokes. Somewhere in the world, my twin smokes. Don't smoke. It's bad. It's horrible, and it's not sexy at all. Smells. We need to bring back like etiquette classes, I think. Not just because we want to know what forks to use, but also because, you know, we need to learn how to interact with each other. We talk about PBS shit we learn in classes, which is the values system. We shouldn't be teaching kids our values. We should be reinforcing the ones the parents already established, to be honest. In a sense, schools have taken over the parenting of children because the parents don't want to fucking do it. Which is annoying because we're facing all the problems of delayed, I want to say conditioning, socialization. Because the parents didn't want to discipline their kids, for example. We are now facing violence in classrooms and a lack of respect for anyone that's, you know, an adult. They are so slack with their kids sometimes that the kids come in thinking, you know, they don't have to listen to us, they don't have to do anything. And we come to school because we have to be here, not because I want to be here and I don't feel like doing anything, so I'm not going to do anything. And I'm also going to disrespect you in the process because you're a grown up and I don't care. And when I do it to my parents, it's fine. Because the parents just don't react and just give them what they want to shut them up. So that's what we're facing. Sorry, that's a bit loud. Darkness. Shakira. That's the thing, it's like you're not doing us a favor as teachers by, you know, shying away from disciplining your kids in an appropriate way. Ooh. Oh, hang on. It is. Because it makes it harder for us to teach them. They are disrespectful. They don't care for any kind of authority, even when it's the authority that wants to help them get to a better lifestyle or better life chances that's trying to help them. They just see it as something that's boring and I don't have to do this. And if I complain and whine about it enough, you'll send me home or you'll put me in the think spot where I don't have to do anything. It's nuts. And you'll find like there's a degrading of the education system because of these things. It starts in the home. Good manners starts in the home. I mean, there's that saying, show me a child of 8 and I'll show you what kind of a man or woman is going to be. It's not, it's most times, 9 out of 10, that's true. Although you can have like a childhood like I had where it was a really rough childhood and I decided not to be an asshole out of choice. That happens a lot too, actually. They talk about show me a child of 8 and I'll show you the man he's going to be, which is a bit sexist because it should be a woman as well. Times have changed. But if you start young enough and you start teaching them how to be good people, decent people, that's another thing that's gone out the window. Decency. Oh my God. Oh, it gives me the shits. You know, the modesty amongst people in general, the kindness and the caring and things like that, the decency of the people. Not everyone's just a dick to each other and it's considered funny. I'm saying it's all funny until you're on the receiving end of it. People are so obsessed with getting themselves out there that they just sink to lower and lower levels of what can I do to show off or what can I do to draw attention to myself and eventually you just put it away, would you? You know, it's getting to that point. It's like we've seen it all. We don't want to see it anymore. We want more modesty in people. We're sick of seeing show ponies again. I mean, that's what it was growing up when someone stood out, did something dumb to get updates. It wasn't a case of put it on Facebook because Facebook didn't exist when I was that age. It was a case of we all look at you and go, yeah, that's good. But if you do it again, no. And that wasn't even tall poppy syndrome. That was just a case of everyone going, okay, it was funny the first time. Okay, now stop. We got it. We got the joke. Now you get kids, I say kids, 20-odd-year-olds, and younger actually, I've seen younger, doing their utmost outlandish shit just to get noticed, and it's often a case of bordering on pedophilia, you know, shit. Bunch of kids with their own TikTok accounts. I'm going, any adult sees this, if a kiddie fiddler sees this, they're gonna fucking love it. So why would you allow your kids to put themselves at risk so much for the sake of drawing attention to themselves? You know, it's, I hope you didn't see something there. Speaking of decency, you know, it's beyond me that parents will allow it. But then again, a lot of parents are profiting off it as well, because they're like, oh, my kid, isn't it cute? And they'll say, oh, isn't it cute? But at the same time, your kid's sitting there doing some outlandish shit just to get attention. Ooh, I've got that colour. It can't be good for the development of the child to have that much attention on them and to be under that much pressure to perform. They lose all sense of identity. There's no innocence there anymore because they're just a performing monkey. Play the harpsichord and dance, and that's all you get. It's absurd. Kids lose their innocence too quickly because the parents think it's cute. The kids say, I want to be famous, I want to be a TikTok person. Use some outlandish shit just to get attention. It's absurd. I don't get it. And they're not learning manners in the process, they're just being assholes. Because often the outlandish shit is, you know, at the expense of someone else. For jokes or pranks or, you know, shitting on someone else. Or this, I pinpointed where the kids with attitude shit came from. It was from the 80s. 80s to 90s. You know, when you used to have kids with attitude. And they had the mullets and the lumberjacket jackets. And they're all into rap, but actually, you know, rap stemmed from a real experience of horribleness, but kids are considered cute because they're trying to emulate it. It's like, why? Why? It's, oh, he's such a bad boy. The bad boy attitude or the bad girl attitude. We're all rough and tough and shit. And it's like, you're kids? What trauma could you possibly have gone through? Unless you've had some real fucking trauma. Where you would need to take on this hood persona. But it was a cute addition to the childhood identity, which I found irritating as shit. And if I see one more kid doing a rap stance, oh my god, I'll lose my shit. Because they still do it now. Shh. That's my timer. They still do it for assemblies. You get like the most suburban white kids doing the worst fucking rap song. and they'll do that. I just turn to the side and you sit there and think, I want to bully you. It's like, I hate this shit. And for some reason, music teachers tend to think, oh, the parents will love it, it'll be cute. And I'm going, no, it isn't. And that's been worked on as part of the child identity. When you create a dick little selfish child, it's going to be a dick selfish asshole parent. I mean, it's rarely do these fuckers get put on their ass and humbled. Actually, I don't know. Maybe they do it more often, I just don't notice it. Because idealistic is what they need. You need to be humbled. We'll find a way. You know, you'll be humbled, but I don't know how, but we'll get there. I don't like the nasty house culture as well that's going around. Actually, I couldn't even say it's Western culture because you've still got the me first attitude in Eastern culture as well. If you're going East versus West, it's everywhere. It's, you know, even in like Chinese culture, you've got the constant push for the child to be number one, the best. You've got to be the best. And there's so much pressure on the kids as well to perform. And it promotes a sense of arrogance. They're not allowed to be kids. They're not allowed to free range themselves. They don't take on any kind of manners because, you know, the arrogance will get you where you need to get to. You know, me first and fuck everyone else. Which is weird considering China's considered like a collectivist culture. I find weird. It's like we all work together, but we're all going to be competing against each other. So it's like, hey, it's contradictory in terms. Odd. Whereas the Western culture is a very individualistic culture. And to a degree, you've got merit in it because we are all different. If you're going through narrative inquiry, we've all got our own, you know, life path that we created and sculpted out of what experiences and contexts we find ourselves in. But at the same time, you know, you don't have to be a dick about it. Be an arrogant asshole because you've had an easier time or a harder time. You know, everybody's different. Everybody's been faced with certain challenges, so we learn to overcome them. At the same time, you need to mediate these experiences with a certain level of civility, being that we're human, with conscious thought and the ability to interact with each other with supposed civility, what's deemed civility, in order to, you know, work easily through situations which are a time crisis, possibly, you know. If you're anything, you know, my culture, for example, I'm British. I come from a British, I was raised British, I wasn't raised Australian. My parents were strict as fuck. The Australian culture I found is a lot slacker compared to what I was raised. I was raised British Irish. You fuckers get away with everything. I got like 8-year-olds on dirt bikes and shit. I'm going, my mom would never let me do that. My mom didn't let me out of the house till I was like 18, and even then I wasn't allowed to go anywhere unchaperoned because of, you know, fucking psychopaths. Hence the reason I had a very sheltered childhood. But it was a very structured and strict and physically abusive childhood. She was preparing us to be adults that could face hell and keep walking, basically, as far as I could tell. If you can survive your own mum, you can survive fucking anything. You know? Aren't you meant to be soft and fluffy? No. It's like, okay. I don't know if you listen to the podcast. But, you know, the coercive working together, the stoicism, which is stoicism in itself, not just the bullshit where you cut your emotions off, is to feel emotions and to work through them with a sense of civility and behavior and action and speech, which promotes cohesion amongst the people in order to get through a context. For example, the Second World War, the Blitz, which is East End of London. My mum came from the Isle of Dogs. So she's had that ingrained in her and she passed it down to us. When the Blitz happened, I know this is going like in a weird tangent, I know. It blew up a shitload of these, and I think the only thing standing was St. Paul's, which they found to be like a miracle. So it was that resilience symbol, which they used amongst the people to promote cohesion and working together to rebuild the East End and get through these horrible experiences, which was the Blitz and finding bits of dead bodies and babies and your house is gone and you got to move on and try and get through where you're going to stay tonight and shit like that. It's manners and politeness alongside stoicism and the carrying on and working through feelings and trauma and abuse, which helped us rebuild the East End. I mean, it took a while, obviously, but if we had, as a people, turned on each other and just said, fuck it, fuck you, and it would have made the whole situation worse. We wouldn't have rebuilt that situation at all. The buildings wouldn't be there because everybody would be fighting, everybody would be nasty to each other, and it just wouldn't have worked. So we need the manners in order to promote growth as well. It's not just a case of the false formality. Like, I'll talk about professionalism and a bunch of fake people I have to work with who pretend to be nice but realistically don't like each other. It is needed in the workplace to a degree, but at the same time, I would prefer it to be authentic manners and feeling, not just a case of I have to be nice, so I'm going to pretend to be nice, and you're going to hear, sorry, I'm just charging my phone. Oh, you're going to hear me, you know, fake my feelings for everything. I would, you know, I'm trying to decipher, I would prefer like respect. You should have basic human respect for everyone because we're all human. We're all in the same, you know, state of being. We're all trying to exist in a series of events and circumstances, particularly lately, which seem completely outlandish and shouldn't be happening in a civilized viewpoint. It's like, why are we still doing this? It's like, I don't know. It keeps us separate from animals. I mean, the next step to doing that kind of shit is just shitting on the floor and throwing it at each other. Why would you? Use your manners, use your civility. We've got conscious thoughts, who use it. It blows my mind. You should have basic respect for everyone because we all need to exist here. But at the same time, you've got the people who in the workforce, for example, who don't respect each other, but they will fake the politeness to get along. That's what bugs me because I can read it like a book. I'm going, I know you're fake. I know you're faking this. I can tell from the pitch of your voice that you don't want to be here, you don't like me. Even in the first few words you say to me, I can tell that you're not happy. I can read that like a book. So why are you faking it? It's weird. It's the fake manners, whereas it should be authentic manners to help progress a community. I mean, if you looked at that through a Stoic sense, knowing that we're all in a cost of living crisis, for example, we're all here to get a paycheck. It's like some of us were trying to ennoble it, and But the main point right now is we're all screwed money-wise. Most of us are screwed money-wise, right? Everything's going up. We're all trying to get along in a very stressful environment, and that's any workplace right now. If you have a job, if you're not employed, then you're probably facing harder choices to make because you've got to get money from somewhere. That's just a way of life. I've been on the dole before, and it's horrible. I've never understood why they fuck with you. I never understood that. It's meant to be like a charity, isn't it? I'll say a charity, not like an ongoing one. It's one you're meant to use as a stepping stone so you can get to somewhere else, somewhere better. But at the same time, you've got to keep fighting just to exist in the welfare system. It's bullshit. You've got to justify why you're still alive. It's like, why do you think we should pay you this time? It's like, because I'm human and I paid my taxes beforehand. I'm hoping to get some of it back so I can live. Mental. Anyway, back to manners. So it should be authentic feeling of these social behaviors. That's the problem. People just fake it to make it, and that's how you lose all your alliances and friends at the end of, say, a contract or something like that, because nobody's really putting in the effort. It's horrible. I'm gonna have to stop soon because as much as I waffle on, my battery's about to run out. So what can we do? All right, I will say, and that saying is very famous, manners maketh man, but at the same time, manners maketh woman. We just say people. I'm not going into the they them debate, but just be nice, be kind. Don't be nasty. There is a certain point where, if you're anything like me, you're raised a people pleaser, where people will take the piss and take advantage. If they are starting to do that, recognize it and just back away. Don't bother associating with them. If they're not going to be nice, then you don't have to be nice, but at the same time, don't be nasty back. It's like, what is this? Do no harm, but take no shit. That's another one of the ones I like. If people aren't going to be nice, you don't have to associate with them. Just go and find something else to do, which is probably why I isolate a lot. I don't know if that's normal. I just like it here. I like it here, and I like music, and I like painting and coffee, and that's it. I have trouble when people don't use their manners. We've learned them for a reason. It's like, people don't use them. It was emphasized so much that we were supposed to. And for autistics, it's like, if you're taught something, then it's law. It's like, I don't understand why they're not using them. Bugs the fuck out of me. And the nastiness and thinking it's funny. That's also another thing I don't understand. It's like, it's never funny to be nasty. But then again, I also don't get pranking. It's like people doing pranks on people because it's like, this isn't funny. This is just mean. It's okay. I smacked your face into a cake or something. First of all, the cake is ruined. So I don't want to eat that with their face on it. And second of all, it's mean because it could have hurt their face. I don't know. People got different sense of humour to me, probably. Anyway, be nice where you can. Look after each other. Don't buy into the whole shit where you have to be nasty to be funny. I don't understand that either. Manners matter. You'll get further along if you're nice to people. And I mean genuinely nice to people, not just fake nice to people because you think that's what they want to hear. Look after each other. It matters. I'm not talking about formalized manners, like what fork to use and opening doors and shit like that. That's dependent on the person. Like, if someone opened the door for me, I would assume it's because they see me as an equal, not because they see my sex or gender. I'm like, I would open the door for you too. It's like, whoever gets there first, right? That's the rule. So some of these manners need to be adapted. He's still asleep. So, it's you gotta play it by ear, but at the same time, some things are pretty obvious. Common sense stuff, and I say common sense, but realistic, some people it's gone out the window as well with decency. I'm worried about that. I'm gonna leave it there because I am waffling. I hope you have a fantastic Sunday. I'm going to drink some more coffee and probably do another podcast, actually. I might stop for food soon. Take it easy, and I'll do another podcast hopefully soon.